Hello, and welcome to this video on calculating the total price of a laptop. We have the following problem. Brian went to Florida and purchased a laptop for $470 US by converting his Canadian money at the exchange rate of $1 Canadian is 0.9715 US. After a month, he returned to Vancouver, but the exchange rate fluctuated and was $1 Canadian equals 0.9819 US on the day of his return. At the border, he paid customs duty of 14% and HST of 13% on the purchase price of the laptop, based on that day's exchange rate. Calculate the total amount Brian spent on the laptop in Canadian dollars. HST is charged on the price of the laptop after applying the duty. To solve this problem, we need to add three quantities. The total amount Brian spent on the laptop is the addition of three things. We take what he spent on the laptop in Florida, plus what he spent on customs duty, plus what he spent on HST. When we add those three components, we get the total amount that he spent on the laptop in Canadian dollars. All X, Y, and Z are measured in Canadian dollars. Now to find X, let's talk about some ratios. So Brian used Canadian currency to obtain $470 when the exchange rate was $1 Canadian equals 0.9715 US. To calculate the value of those $470 US in Canadian money, we use the fact that 0.9715 to 1, this is in US dollars, and this is in Canadian dollars, should be equal to 470 US dollars to X. In fractions, we write 0.9715 over 1 should be equal to 470 divided by X. Then X turns out to be the value 470 divided by 0.9715. And that expression is approximately equal to 483.79, or we have more precisely 483.78, 79, 57, and so on. This is our X value. Let's highlight that value because we need it later. And let's move on to finding Y. Okay. Now, the value of the laptop is converted to Canadian currency at the border, when the exchange rate was $1 Canadian equals 0.9819 US. So now we have a new value of the laptop in Canadian dollars based on the current exchange rate. So at the border, the relation they keep in mind is that 0.9819 to 1 is $470 US dollars to a new X. So let's call it new X in Canadian money. Just as before, that value in Canadian money will be 470 dollars. Canadian dollars divided by 0.97, better 98.19. Okay. And when we add the 14% duty, what we get is the total duty is our Y value. That's 14%. Oops. 14% of that new value of the laptop, the one based on the new exchange rate. This was about 478.66, or more exactly, we can write that this equals 66 and then 38, and then 15, and then some other decimals. Let me move this a little bit over to the left. So there we have that. Compute 14% of that new value of the laptop, the value of the laptop in Canadian money, the day that Brian crossed the border. So there we have 14% of 478.66, 38, 15, and so on. And this computation gives us the following number. Let me just fix that 8 there. There we go. So it gives us the number in Canadian dollars, 67.01, and then 29, 34, and so on. And this is our Y value. So that's what Brian is paying on duty. Okay. The last thing we do is we find Y. We find Z. Actually, not Y. We already found Y. To find Z, we compute 13% on the purchase price of the laptop after applying the duty. So we have Z equals 13% of the new X, that's the value of the laptop the day Brian crossed the border, 478.663815, and so on, plus the duty. So plus 70 was 67.012934, and so on. And when we compute that value, we get the following amount in Canadian money: 70.93, 79, 77, and more numbers afterwards. That's our Z. There we have the Z. Now we take all those numbers and we add them up. We take X plus Y plus Z. So the total amount spent on the laptop is X plus Y plus Z. That's 483.78, 79, 57, and we continue like that. We add that number with 67.012934. We would continue like that. Then we add 70.93, 79, 77. We continue like that. We don't round those quantities off. We round the answer off, but not the quantities we obtain in the process. final answer is rounded off to 2 decimal places. When we do that, we get the value 621.74. This symbol right here means approximately equal to. So Brian spent about $621.74 on the laptop in Canadian dollars in total. All right. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, write comments. I will do my best to help you. Bye-bye.